Talk about that.
Go ahead.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to our show. This is From This Corner TV, and I'm your host, Marilyn Dayton. And I'm so glad you're with us tonight because this is very special. Now, I know in some previous shows we've had some guests talking about the Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation. This is an organization very near and dear to my heart. And we have a huge event coming up, the signature event for the organization. And we have some special guests here tonight, and we're going to be talking about it. So with us tonight, we have Marianne Esposito. And Marianne has been with the organization for a long time as a volunteer, a walker, and she was also executive director for a couple of years. So she's going to kind of fill us in on some of the history and that kind of thing. And we also have Mary DePasquale. Hi. Mary is new with the organization. We're very excited to have her with us because Mary is heading up as chair of the Walk. And the Walk Across Southeastern Connecticut is the main event for this organization. And since 2006, this organization has raised $2.7 million that has gone through grants to up-and-coming researchers, scientists, doctors who have new and inventive ideas and a different angle. We're looking for a cure, and sometimes you've got to look a little bit outside the box or outside the circle. And our scientific panel, led by some very impressive scientific minds, they're very picky, and they give these grants out to these young people. And as a matter of fact, we found out recently that one of the past grant recipients was involved in a team study that is going on to the second stage. It's very, very exciting. It's the first time that's happened. And as makes sense, that if you find a cure or something very close to a cure to one kind of cancer, guess what? That can lead you to studying and using it to help find cures for other cancers. So anytime that you take a step forward and it starts making sense, you have to get very excited. We want to go out of business. Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation has been an organization since 2006, and we're going to hear a little bit about the history of it. But this organization is working very, very hard, and I'm very pleased and proud to be a part of it. But we want to find a cure, and then guess what? We can all go on and do something else. So enough with Marilyn here. Let's talk to Marianne. Marianne, I'm so glad you could join us.
Thank you for having me, Marilyn.
So, okay, you've been involved with the organization and a volunteer for how many years now?
Since 2006.
Wow.
I walked in the very first walk. It was awesome. And
That's
I've been
amazing.
doing it ever since.
Now tell us a little bit, let's take us back to 2006 and why this organization was begun.
Well, there were two women, Terry Broder and Norma Logan. They were in treatment together for breast cancer. And during that time, Norma Logan started to raise funds to get a cure. And she and a bunch of her co-workers at Pfizer formed a team that did the Susan Komen Walk, which was the premier way to raise money. And by doing that walk, she had raised with the group $250,000.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, it was unbelievable. And completed the walk and became a believer in raising money that goes strictly for a cure. So she decided that she would start her own foundation, and Terry Broder, a young mom of 3 kids living in Old Saybrook locally here, had succumbed to breast cancer, and she named the foundation in basically in testimony to Terry's spirit and life. And so it became the Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation, founded by Norma Logan and Sandy Maniscalco, her co-worker advisor. And in 2006, the very first walk started, and there were, I think, around 130 of us who did a full marathon, the full 26.2 miles, and raised hundreds of thousands for breast cancer research. And it was just, it was the beginning of this, this very clear passion for putting every dollar raised to these young leading edge researchers you just talked about to break through to find a cure.
Now the reason that, one of the reasons why these women decided to form this organization was in fact that they found out that not every dollar, but a large portion of each dollar, but not the whole dollar, went actually to the research, which is what they wanted to have happen.
Right.
So in their moment of disappointment and frustration about that, then it's like, okay, well, darn it all, we're going to do our own. And we'll make sure, and we will promise, which is called Logan's Promise, that 100% of all funds raised goes to research. And it's been carried through since 2006.
That's right.
And it's going to continue on until a cure is found, of course.
Right, exactly.
So that's what sets this organization apart. One of the things that sets it apart.
That's right. That it has very strict integrity, that any donated dollar goes right to breast cancer research, which puts a lot of pressure on the team that runs the foundation, because donations really are put aside for research, and that means that we depend on supporters and sponsors to pay our operating expenses, and we depend very heavily on volunteers to step forward into key roles to allow us to pull off things like the Walk Across Southeastern Connecticut, where you have hundreds of people walking in a single day. So it needs hundreds of volunteers.
Absolutely. And I did walk 3 years ago, and thought I was going to die, and I've said that before. But that's because I wasn't in as good shape. Plus, I've got, you know, a back problem, and that were like kicking me in the butt. But anyway, the commitment, the help, the support. I can remember walking by this one house. I'll just pick out this one house. They had decorated the tree with pink ribbons. The little kids had little pink, you know, little pink outfits on. There was this little bitty girl with a little tutu on, and she was jumping up and down and jumping up and down. She said, "You can do it! You can do it!" It was just like amazing. It almost made you want to cry. It just touched you so deeply. And then walking through Niantic, where they had, I can remember the pumpkins painted pink.
Pink, yes.
And that whole town just comes alive.
City
with pink.
spirit.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing.
It is. It is.
And it makes you feel, and I'm getting goosebumps right now, because it makes you feel as if it's not just important that you walk or that you help and volunteer and all focus on raising the money for a cure, but it's the fellowship and I mean, it's just, even if it was raining, we wouldn't care. And there have been years when
yes,
it
2009
rained.
was a big rain year, yeah.
And yet, you know, everybody's still out there, and they're out there in support. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. Now, Mary, have you walked before?
not.
Oh, you haven't. This is going to be an amazing experience for you.
excited. I really
Just
am.
watching what happens.
Well, just that story that you were just talking about, that little girl, and the feeling you must have. You must have a feeling that you're making a difference.
Absolutely.
You know, your piece is making a difference. It takes a village, and it's an amazing organization to be a part of. I'm so proud.
And you must be very excited, but a little bit tentative,
Oh, very much
because
so.
this is the signature event, folks. They have events during the year. And a lot of us feel that, yes, it's wonderful that October is Breast Cancer Month, to make that that focus and that to try to get people to raise money for breast cancer research. But it's got to be happening all year long. Mm-hmm. And even though our season for Terry Broder starts April 1st and then ends November 1st, this is an ongoing thing. Those of us who are involved, we it's not like we can turn it off and not think about it. When I'm out in the business community and I'm talking to people, just networking and that kind of thing, as we business owners do, just the conversation of giving back, getting involved, and I jump right in. I say, well, you've probably heard about the Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation, and and if they say, I'm not really sure, I say, well, let me tell you a story. And I try to keep spreading the word all year long.
Sure, networking.
And the events. Our good friend Suzette Tibbis here in Mystic, everybody knows Suzette, and she's got her show here with with the Mystic Chamber. She has been involved with the organization for several years. Her mother had breast cancer, and Suzette is now battling that disease herself now. And she just had, I think Thursday night, she had an event at her Simply Majestic shop. And in 3 hours, she raised over $800 for this organization.
That is awesome.
It's like I saw her today and I said, oh my God, girl, you are amazing. Of course, we all know she's amazing. But this was the night before the Mystic Outdoor Art Festival, and she had to be on site at 5:30 in the morning. It's like, and this is a woman that's fighting breast cancer, but she just keeps right on going. She'll take a nap when she needs to. But there are so many people walking that are survivors.
Yes. Yes. In fact, the walk provides a pink cap for our survivors, and you see the caps as all the walkers are going out. You see all the pink caps along the way. Many survivors, many family members who have loved ones that are battling cancer come and walk in support of. It is a sea of support for finding a cure. It really is.
And the interesting thing too, not just have the Broder family and the Logan family been involved at the beginning, but last night we were talking to Ashley Broder and Matt Logan.
Max Logan.
Max Logan. I know, I'll get it. I just met him last night.
Norma's nephew.
Gorgeous young man. Very nice. Super, super nice. And very shy. And just so, you've got the family represented.
It's like the next generation, if you will.
And one of the women that is involved in the organization, Norma was her mother-in-law. I mean, good golly, this is not just a community spirit and community commitment. It is family,
it is
friends.
Right. Yes.
And the thing is, once you step forward and take that first step, literally, take that first step either to volunteer or walk, and you feel that spirit, that wonderful, wonderful supportive spirit, it's just, you're hooked. You're absolutely hooked because, especially with this latest information that one of the studies has gone to the second step, that's big.
Right.
That's very big in the medical world. A lot of people don't realize that, but I have a family, nurses, pharmacists, and so I'm used to hearing, this is happening, and this is big because it takes a lot of work to get to this point. And then when I heard this, and John LaMattina was explaining, that it takes so much to be able to get to the next step in this kind of study, it just, it's like, yes, this is what we're working for, right?
Exactly. exactly.
Now, you've been involved since the beginning,
Right.
and you're still, now you were also executive director for a couple of years.
I was, Marilyn, yes. In fact, I was still working for AT&T for the first couple of walks, and then I retired. And Sandy Maniscalco came to me one day and said, would you volunteer? It's a very easy assignment. You sit there in the morning with your slippers and your cup of coffee, and you can do
Sure, Sandy.
website administration. And so I said, that sounds like I could see myself doing that. And so I got involved as a volunteer. And totally got bit with the passion to make a difference with Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation. And so in 2011, the foundation was looking for an executive director. And that 6-7 year junction is very important for nonprofit groups because it organizationally is a time when many groups don't have the momentum that they had at the very beginning to keep going. And you need to have structure and you need to have support that carries you through. If a key volunteer is sidelined with a family issue, somebody to step into their place. And your supporters, that your support grows so that it can help your foundation to thrive. So when I came in 2011, I found that the board was incredibly supportive of whatever it took to continue to fight for a cure. And I was blessed with creatives. I'll call them, creative as an adjective is one thing. Creative as a noun is a person who is really out there. People like Sandy Maniscalco and Ellen Swarczewski with the Walk, and Claudia Marks with her work to put the name Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation in front of so many.
Yes.
And these folks worked tirelessly. As we were talking before, there's so many opportunities to promote the foundation. And we had 2 very successful years where each year we had more than enough to fund 3 grants and announce 3 more researchers. So we were very, very fortunate in those years. And when my own schedule didn't permit me to make that big of a time commitment, I moved on to volunteer work again. So it's been a evolution through different phases for me. And I'm so proud to be associated, because the rigor of being able to keep your eye on that goal of finding a cure through getting more and more research out there so you can get breakthroughs like the one John LaMattina just reported. So it's good work. It is really good work.
I feel as if, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I feel as if everyone has been touched by breast cancer. Everyone knows someone, everyone has a neighbor, a coworker, a sibling, a mother, sister, wife, whatever it is, everybody's been touched. And what I feel like that, as a newcomer coming into the organization, that Terry Broder has done is brought it back to community. And these are really some powerful, significant people who have said, we're taking this we're going to make this happen. And it's impressive. It's impressive. It's contagious. The energy and the compassion is contagious. And so if you're around it for a minute, you just get involved. And I love that part of it. When you start talking, like you said, you go to businesses and you start talking about, let me tell you about the Terry Broder. Why don't you tell people this is a local woman? These are local. They're like, wow, yes, this is us. This is our community. Let's help each other.
But the research is not just local. The research is from Smith.
Leading.
Oh, absolutely. Yale. It goes all the way down to New York City.
Dana Farber.
Yes, and all the way over to Boston. Yes. And the interesting thing is, it makes sense for the studies to be in this part of the country, because the hard thing that people don't understand is New England has the most cases of not just breast cancer, but some very unique and different types of cancer, especially in Connecticut. I was talking to someone earlier today, that we didn't have time to get into it all that much, but she said, you know, a lot of people don't understand that there's something about this area, and we don't know what it is, that that just seems to cause the increase in cancer. And I mean, there are places around the country that have a reason for a lot of cancer in that area, whether it be, you know, a nuclear power plant or something like that. And they're thinking maybe that might change it, you know, it affects the water, the ground, and all that. But nobody really knows for sure, which is what we're trying to find out.
Right.
But statistically, Connecticut is one of the top states
It is.
for cancer in the whole country.
Wow.
And the last time I saw the American Cancer Society statistics on that, Marilyn, it was Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts were the top three for not only the incidence of breast cancer, but for the incidence of invasive breast cancer. And so both on severity and occurrence, Connecticut is right there in the top three in both, and with our sister states, you know, in regional states.
And of course, it's not something we're proud of course. But it makes sense that an organization such as Terry Broder, which is so committed that every single dollar that's raised goes to find a cure for cancer. That's why we're so committed, because we face the fact that it's here, it's not getting any better, and it's probably getting worse, and we're sitting right in the middle of it. So that's one of the reasons why it's so exciting to have a foundation so committed to this cause.
Yes.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to talk about the walk, and we'll get Mary DePasquale more involved in the conversation shortly. But we're going to take a little break right now. So get out your pen and paper, because we're going to be telling you about some things that you're going to want to write down, okay? So we'll be right back.
Can you help me with this? My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
Sure.
He helps me with homework.
That would be 3.6795.
Thanks.
Yep.
He helps me with my decision making.
I wouldn't use this one. Ever.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
I'm learning so much.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Up, college is hard. Down, those books are heavy.
My sport is football, but my passion is education. So every year I take promising high schoolers on a college tour to show them that higher education means a brighter future.
My name is Nnamdi Asamoah. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
You can be a reader, tutor, or mentor too. Take the pledge at liveunited.org/volunteer.
Do you wear this?
And we're back. Just to remind you, you're watching From This Corner TV, and I'm Marilyn Dayton, your host, and we've got a really good show tonight. As usual, we always have good shows. And we have two very special guests. We have Mary DePasquale and Marianne Esposito, and we're talking about the Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation and the need for breast cancer research and a cure. You know, every day we want a cure. So one of the signature event, although the foundation and the organization does have a lot of events throughout the year, the signature event is the Walk Across Southeastern Connecticut. And we have Mary DePasquale, who is our brand new walk chair.
I'm excited.
And she's bringing a lot of excitement and some experience as an event planner person, and just a lot of commitment. I can tell from the way you've taken the bull by the horns, and just really organized, just really getting people doing stuff. So Mary, tell us why you decided to get involved with the organization.
Well, I was asked to participate and help, and I was very excited that I have an extensive background in event planning and execution and operations and large-scale events, thousands of people, and I worked for Mohegan Sun for 13 years doing various events for them, as well as helping with all their different player development events, et cetera, et cetera. So it was a good fit, and it was something that I really wanted to get involved with and give back in my own way with. So when I was approached by it, I was excited about it, and I was like, okay. And I discovered I entered into a group that it's a well-oiled machine. It is really, I am so impressed. And I was telling Marianne earlier, I'm very, very impressed at the amount of men that have volunteered as well. I am just so pleasantly surprised and pleased, and these guys give it their all. I have several team captains that are men and just volunteers, and it's just really exciting. What a great group of people. As I said earlier, it's contagious. The passion, the commitment. You'll talk to people and they'll be like, "Oh, I've walked 9." This woman right here, this is my 9th year walking. It's incredible. That is dedication, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. What I feel like the message I would really like to get across today is obviously all this logistics about the walk and things, but we want walkers. We're looking for walkers, and the walk is broken down into 3 segments. We have a marathon, which is the 26.2, and then a half marathon, which is the 13.1, and then a quarter marathon, which is 6.55. So it's open for all levels of experience and people that want to be involved. We have a youth section where we have a youth rate that some younger folks can come in from the ages of 12 to 18 and form a team and get involved. We're looking for that next generation to get involved. But it's really exciting. So as sometimes, like you said earlier, you're like, oh, I have to walk, and it's almost daunting. It doesn't have to be. You can cut it down. It goes by so quickly, people tell me. They're like, by the time they're at lunch going, we just walked how many miles? And it goes by quickly. So
and the route is so beautiful.
Oh, I drove it. Sorry, the other day. And I was like, wow, this is a breathtaking area. I've never been in parts of the area. It was beautiful. Very beautiful.
It starts in Old Saybrook. Now, this year there was a change. Now, normally the opening ceremonies have been at Saybrook, right at Saybrook Point.
Saybrook Point, right.
But this year we had to change that, correct?
Yes, there's some kind of a wedding or some kind of a conflicting event going on, but we're going to be right adjacent to that area. They call it the monument. Right there, so it'll be right adjacent to that area, and we'll start our opening ceremonies there. So.
Now, and you pipe in any time. The opening ceremonies, the purpose of this is and it's very early in the morning, trust me, I've been there. It's to get people enthused, wake them up, get them excited,
pumped up,
right,
and ready to start walking, right?
And usually we have a set of calisthenics to get our bodies ready, but our inspiration are some of the speakers, because Melanie Broder, Sean Broder, these are Terry's children, actually have spoken, about what it means to find a cure, what it means, for to solve breast cancer, and it just gets everybody so excited to get the walk done. and to make a difference with their the donations that have been given for their walk. So it's a wonderful start. 6:30 in the morning is early, right? Yeah,
But it's also-
but there's coffee there.
There is coffee.
Yep.
And it's also, it's October 4th.
Yep.
Saturday, October 4th, so it's going to be a beautiful fall day, just the beginning. It's going to be crisp, it'll be beautiful. I've ordered the weather. I was in charge of that as well.
Okay, good. So we don't have to worry about the weather. It's fantastic. So
Very
then, and the interesting thing is that it's all planned ahead of time as far as the trail is marked. There are signs with arrows and
Mile markers.
And guides.
Yep.
Traffic
Yes.
control people that allow you to cross
I did that
streets
last year.
Oh, you were on traffic and safety?
Power of stopping a huge truck, you know, with this little height-wise body, and having them just go, okay, and you get to walk across, and then you wave by, and there's a lot of power, I have to admit. But anyway, I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there.
On the day of, my role is to coordinate all these captains and their role, and we just have some great people involved, and you know, someone's handling hydration, which is very important, obviously,
that's
if you're
very
running.
important.
You know,
Yes.
and someone's handling opening and closing ceremonies, and they're making sure that the power is set up, the riser set up, the speakers in line, they have a show flow, and I mean, they really have their things set out for them in the logistics and getting everything ready. And then you have somebody on the back end like yourself that's handling marketing, and then you have someone who's in charge of walker recruitment and somebody who's in charge of walker registration, and it takes everybody to do their piece for it to all come together. We have someone in charge of the spirit teams, for a little boost when you're at 3/4 of the way there. There's going to be just people there cheering you on and leading you into that last third of that, so that you have that energy and that enthusiasm that you did when you walked out, and began the race. We have people in charge of the pit stops. We have 9 pit stops along the way, and there'll be snacks and beverages at each of those. We have somebody helping out with the lunch. We also have somebody on the medical teams, which is very important. There'll be somebody at with a medical background at each of the pit stops, providing any care that anyone should need, and it's just phenomenal. It is phenomenal.
And there are people on bicycles.
That's right. That's right.
Riding along the route.
Steve and his crew will be there with the cyclists and riding people through and guiding
and making
them.
sure if anybody needs help that they get it. It's very important.
It is.
Yeah.
Because
And we have somebody on, a new person that just joined our team too, is on procurement, Elaine Brunel, and she's helping us get some sponsors in and people that'll donate in kind sponsors, and make all kind of donations, which is fantastic. And so we have quite a few new members this year. We're excited. We have someone in charge of the 1/4 and half marathons, because once we let everybody go through for the marathons, it's like our next portion of it starts. And so Mary Kate Diddler's helping us with that. It's just really exciting. And we have a new medical person, a new medical director, and her name is Shelley Halligan, and she's joined our team, so we're so excited about everybody.
A lot of good people, and I love the fact that there are new people, coming into it. And
New ideas and just
and
great energy.
The thing is,
Great
not
energy.
only do you get hydrated, you get fed, you get
Right.
encouraged, you get helped. I mean, there's everything that you could need and want.
Right.
One of the things I love is the teams.
Yeah.
Right.
For the last few years, the team that I walk with is called Cancer Crushers.
I love it. I love the name. I love the
And
name.
we have folks, some years they can walk, some years they can't, but it's a chance to walk and talk with your friends.
Right.
I mean, 26 miles.
Right.
You start at 7 in the morning, you go to 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon. And so it's a chance to be with others and, not only do a good thing, but have fun at the same time.
Right.
One of the things that I did want to touch upon is the way the grants are handed out. Can we just talk about that for a couple of minutes?
Sure.
Now, people who are interested in getting a grant for research, they submit all of their
An
paperwork.
application, yes, and that happens usually in the October timeframe. And the Scientific Advisory Committee, the group they're very distinguished researchers and doctors who review all of the applications and then interview and select. And so they also, as these researchers progress through their time doing the research, they review the progress reports so they can see how the research is evolving. So it's pretty darn exciting. And the researchers are always thrilled because, you know, they're passionate about doing their work to break through and test a theory. And so it's a great way to make a difference. And,
now, the amount that they are given, that they are granted, is each one gets a commitment of 2 years, and it's $50,000 a year for each one of those 2 years. So generally, most of the last few years, we've been able to grant 3 researchers, which has been very exciting.
Yes.
When you stop and think about how far $2.7 million has gone since 2006, divided up into 50,000 into that. I mean, that is a lot of years of research.
Right. That's right.
And so that's why we get excited when we hear about there's a little bit of a breakthrough here. We go, oh yeah, yes, yes, yes. And you know, the cheerleaders come out just like they do on the walk, only we're just revved up by the fact that we might just make a difference.
Right. One of the ways I like to visualize that is if you thought of 20 people coming to a place and working every day for a year, that has already been paid for by the Terry Broder Breast Cancer Foundation.
Exactly.
That's a nice way to put it.
Oh,
it is.
It's a picture, you know.
So they don't have to worry about anything. They can focus on their work.
Right.
Which is just so important, you know. You know what I love too is that we can get the young people involved from the age of 12. Now I have, hi Kylie and all of your friends, my granddaughter is putting together a team this year. She's 13. Good. And hopefully my daughter can walk with them. And they're going to raise funds. I don't know how many she's going to be able to get on the team. But they're away right now. I'm going to be back in a few days. And I told them, I said, as soon as you're back, I'm going to hit the practice, you know, going to start hitting the road. And she's very excited, and some of her friends are very excited. And it's I think it's so important for the youth today.
I agree.
To look beyond their immediate circle of friends, family, things that they do, and think of something bigger than their world.
Right.
And think about doing something for a cause. I think there's nothing more important for a young person than to have that ahead of them and to acknowledge the fact that, you know, I'm going to walk this Saturday, and I'm going to raise money for a wonderful cause. How great is that?
It is.
I'm pleased to say we already have some youths signed up. Yeah, for this year. Yeah, we're really excited.
Good. Now, we're pretty much on the mark as far as this point in time, as of today.
We're slightly ahead of last year.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I heard that, which is wonderful.
Which is awesome.
And I think that's a lot of people who are used to walking repeatedly.
Right.
You know, it's just like they finish the walk and they say, okay, it's always the first Saturday in October. What's going to be the date next year? And this is at the end of a long walk that they've had.
Right.
And they're being massaged under the massage tent. A lot of massage therapists are working on their bodies, and they're hydrating, and they're getting some ice cream and having some chili. And they say, now what is going to be the date for next year? And you're going to still walk with me, right? You know, I mean, this is amazing.
Exactly
because I'll tell you,
goes.
when I walked the quarter, and I was like laying down on the ground. I was with I walked as part of the SAVA team, who, you know, are very involved.
SAVA Soul Sisters.
SAVA Insurance, very involved.
Yes.
And you know, they're all excited, and they're taking off their shoes and counting their blisters, you know, the usual. and talking about, okay, oh, it was so great, Marilyn, you could walk with us this year, and you're going to do it again, right? And I'm going, oh my God, if I can live to tomorrow, that's all I want to think about.
Blisters go away, though.
They do.
Go away.
They do, and there's such a thing called Epsom salts, which is my friend. But now, some of the things, of course, are going to be changing this year, but the closing ceremonies. Let's talk about the closing ceremonies and some of the things that happen at the closing ceremonies. And we have music.
Right.
We have, hopefully, again, this year we're going to have the pink SUV from Full Power Radio and announcements.
And the massage.
Yes, and the massages and all the food and everything. But the ceremony, there is a ceremony. And as I'm sitting here looking at the hat, and I'm seeing the pins on the hat, I would like you to explain what the pins mean.
Sure. Well, you know that the pink hats are worn by the survivors who walk. Well, we also see some white hats at the walk. It has the walking footsteps for Walk Across Southeastern Connecticut, and it commemorates Norma Logan, founder, with Sandy Maniscalco back in 2006. And this happens to be my hat, and I have put every pin I've received in the 9 years on it. This is the one from Walking 5 Years. These were donated for everybody who did 5 years of walking. And this one, large one over here with the walking feet, was the very first walk in 2006.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yes, and over the last 4 years, on the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th year, there have been little pins, different colors, pinks, for the accomplishment. So you see...
you wear it with pride.
You do wear it with pride.
Sure
and it also becomes part of that energy to let's do it again. And not be done until, because walking 26 miles is tough, but it's not as tough as breast cancer.
Wow.
And
gosh,
that's what we want to do. We want to walk until we don't have to.
Exactly. I tell you, as you probably could tell, I get a little excited about what this organization does. And, yes, it's a well-oiled machine, but we welcome new ideas and new, fresh energy. And because some of us, we're not going to be able to continue year after year because time goes by. And we have to have that good balance of experienced volunteers and walkers and the new blood, because what's also important to realize is that more and more every year we are seeing breast cancer cases in young people. It's not only women who are approaching 40, approaching 50 and beyond. It's not only men, also 2,000 new cases a year. It's teenagers. I have met someone who was, she was diagnosed with breast cancer when she was 14. And they treated her, and the next year they found it again. I mean, this is young people.
It doesn't discriminate, does it?
No, it doesn't discriminate at all. And it's just like when you see the commercials for children that have cancer of all kinds, and you go, that's just wrong. It's just wrong, And we've got to do something about it, and we do what we can. But it's the scientists.
Right.
It's the scientists that are the future of finding a cure.
Right.
And
I feel
that's
like
why
it's tangible. You
absolutely.
get so excited. It's tangible.
It's almost
here.
like we can
It's
reach
here.
out and grab it.
exactly.
That there's that cure. Oh, let's bring it in.
Yeah.
And start using it to save people, because whatever the reason is that this happens, we're getting kind of tired of it. We really are tired of losing our mothers, tired of losing our sisters, our friends, our children. This is just, it's just too darn important to ignore. So remember I told you to get that pencil and paper out? Okay, here's what you're going to do. you're going to write down, well, you're going to grab your calendar, okay? So you're going to have a piece of paper, get your calendar out, and look at the first Saturday in October. That is the 4th of October this year, okay? And you're going to write down, block off that whole day, well, at least until 4 o'clock, okay? Early in the morning to 4 o'clock. You're either going to volunteer, or you're going to walk, or you're going to find someone to walk if you can't walk and say, I will support you. And encourage them to talk to their friends. And in the meantime...
Encourage your children to form a team.
Exactly, like my grandkids are going to do and like my daughter's going to do. I'm not going to, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. They're very excited. And I'm excited for them because I'm going to be either, I don't know what I'm going to be doing at this year as far as on site. You know, because yes, I'm doing the marketing and all that kind of stuff during the year. But on that day, you know, I don't know who, well, probably Chuck is going to say, okay, Marilyn, remember when we were doing this last year? Yeah, help me stop trucks again. I'll do it. I'll do whatever needs to be done.
Right.
So
that's everyone's attitude.
Yes.
Everyone
I mean, you
has
could
that
even,
attitude. I love
like the guys in the fire, I think it's the Waterford Fire Department that we walk right by.
Right, yes.
And they're out there cheering away, and they're waving, and they're handing out water, and it's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. Okay, so write that down. Okay.
Saturday, October 4th.
Absolutely. And in a couple of minutes, I'm going to have to tell you about some other events that are coming up. But, okay, so Sandy couldn't be here tonight. Sandy Maniscalco, who was one of the founders with Norma Logan. One thing we didn't mention was that Norma, she passed away a year after Terry Broder did.
Yeah.
And so we're all kind of carrying on for Terry and for Norma. And when you see the walk program this year, as every year, you're going to open up a page and you're going to see the Logan's Promise. And read the story on that page. And what it says, that Logan's Promise is 100%, okay, 100%. Every wrinkle, every crinkle of every dollar bill that is donated for these walkers, for any of these events, all the funds that are raised go to research. Not a penny is wasted. And it's monitored very closely.
It is.
And you know, that does set this organization apart from so many others. I mean, yes, there's a lot of administration behind the scenes that has to take place. And there are things that have to be purchased and paid for. And but that doesn't come out of the funds that are raised. That is from the commitment of other companies and organizations that sponsor
gifts and sponsorships.
Yes.
Yep.
And so
generosity.
Very, very generous. And you know, there's an awful lot of nonprofits out there today, and they've all got a great cause, because there are so many causes today, unfortunately. You know, so many people we're trying to save or help who have many different conditions, and animals that need help. So it's kind of tough to get the support that you need, because, well, we're all holding out our hands to these organizations that do support us, and it makes it kind of tough. But you know what? We have got, this organization's got such a great track record, such a great track record that
we have Norma's promise.
Yes, and we honor that promise. And I'm so happy that you're joining the organization.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome.
Very excited,
Terrific.
Really excited.
Yes. And Marianne, it's so great to see you just keep right on and going
Thank
out there.
you. Thank you. We do what we can.
And still being involved. And there's so many others. And Sandy, we miss you. Please feel better, okay? And we'll have you on a future show, okay? And get Phil in here too. What the heck? So I'm going to take a couple of minutes here, and I'm going to tell you about the other events that are going on in the area. So keep that pen and paper handy and your calendar, okay? And so, and Frank is going to bring up the, the websites that we're going to be talking about, okay? So first and foremost is the Walk Across Southeastern Connecticut.
And we have our new website,
yes,
too.
and the website, the brand new website, as a matter of fact,
Fantastic job they've done.
Yes, it's
Fantastic
wonderful.
job.
It's wonderful. You got to freshen things up a little bit. So if you can bring up that the address for Terry Broder, which is tbbcf.org, and there it is, and there's the phone number. Write that down, please, people. Okay. Everything you need to know is on the website. And if you've got any questions at all, call. Okay.
You can volunteer on the website. You can sign up for the quarter marathon, half marathon, full marathon. You can donate.
All of that is
All of it,
right
right
through
there.
the website.
In-kind
Make it as
sponsorships.
easy as possible for you.
Join us,
and
please.
remember, that is always, every year, the first Saturday in October, okay? So if you've got next year's calendar, mark it up. Okay, then, later on that day, actually, the COMO is, which is the Stonington Community Center, has got information for you on their website, and there it is. For the gala event to benefit the Stonington Community Center, that's at 6:30 on October the 4th. And it's going to be at the Mystic Aquarium. They're going to honor our friend Suzette Tibbis, who's just wonderful, and the Battle of Stonington Bicentennial Committee. So that's kind of a cool event. So if you're walking, hydrate, eat, shower, and go out.
Right.
Cool.
You'll be ready for a martini by then.
Oh, yeah, or Manhattan. I like Manhattans. Okay, then we have, the next event is Sophia Sees, and there's the website. And they're having a dinner called A Dinner in the Dark on November 15th. Mark it down. That's an evening to benefit Sophia Sees Hope, looking for a cure for blindness. Remember I said there's all these organizations that are looking for help. There's another one for you. Then we had Summer in the City people here in our last show, and they have events going on. So the art exhibit dates and the location that are in recognition of the submarine USS Nautilus's 60th anniversary. Amazing.
Wow.
And that art exhibit is going to be traveling around at different locations. Everything is on their website, okay? Then the last event is the Community Coalition for Children, and they're going to be coming on our show in September, and they're having an event October 20th at the Guard Arts Center, and then a workshop the following day. And their focus is helping children thrive, a very wonderful organization. And you're going to be hearing more about them in a future show here. So remember that we have interesting shows, and you can always tune in. And tuning in on here on Comcast Channel 12 on Wednesdays from 7 to 8 p.m. and at MetroCast Channel 24 on Thursdays 6 to 7. And you can always go to our website. Send me an email with ideas for the show if you know people that think they should be on your show. I will definitely look into that. And in the meantime, this was wonderful. Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Marilyn.
Thank you
And
for having us.
Mary,
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Great show. And thank you for joining us. It was a darn good show. And I hope you thought so too, and I hope you do something about it, okay? And in the meantime, we will see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.